On the Season 2 premiere of Wingspan, we're taking a look at the heroin epidemic, how it's affecting our city, and why it's making national headlines.
If I needed to hurt other people to get drugs, like that's what I was going to do. It only took a year to destroy my life completely in all aspects.
Heroin is such a death grip that if you ever talk to a heroin addict, it's that one time.
You know, the first time you get high during the day is the best one.
And what they chase for the rest of their life is that one time.
And then the rest of the day you chase that high, you know, and you never meet it. You know, it's horrible.
4 in 5 heroin users, new heroin users, started out by misusing prescription drugs. Then they switched to heroin. So this really is a gateway drug. The prescription drugs become a gateway to heroin.
In December 2015, just a week before many would head home for the holidays to visit family and friends, the Washington Post reported on newly released statistics from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The data shows that 2014 was a record-breaking year for heroin and prescription painkiller overdoses as the number surged to over 47,000. Shortly after those statistics were released, local law enforcement seized more than $14,000 worth of heroin from a single dealer here in Wilmington, North Carolina, known as 2. For Wilmington, the flow of narcotics through the port city became so prevalent in 2014 that city officials petitioned the Office of National Drug Control Policy at the White House for federal assistance. Wilmington officials wanted the city to be designated a high-intensity drug trafficking area in order to bring additional federal resources to the city to combat narcotics traffickers. According to the National Drug Reauthorization Act of 2006, Wilmington officials have to demonstrate to the federal government that the flow of illicit narcotics is having a significant harmful impact in the area and other areas, and that an allocation of federal resources is necessary to respond adequately to drug-related activities. The statistics can be overwhelming. Here's what's really going on in our area.
Hello. Is she breathing on her own? Yeah. Very shallow. She's got a good pulse. Should I give her? I think it's 2 minutes you're supposed to wait, isn't it?
And while it may seem like an issue removed from our day-to-day lives, Lieutenant Jerry Brewer with the New Hanover County Sheriff's Department says it's affecting us all.
Do we believe that the campus, or any campus for that, not just limited to UNCW or any other campus, is immune from heroin and its addictions and its issues that come with it? No. You know, there's no neighborhood that is immune to it. There's no part of society, you know, that is immune to it.
Sheriff Ed McMahon of New Hanover County said that in 2015, they had seized 135,000 bags over the past 5 years in the county alone. In October of 2015, Brunswick County Sheriff John Ingram announced the creation of the Heroin Initiative Task Force, a joint effort with the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office and the Wilmington Police Department.
For us in this part of the country, we see a majority of the heroin come in from New York and New Jersey. We have drug dealers who use I-95, it's a corridor, to go up to Jersey. They get it, they bring it back down here, they cut it, and then they sell it, and that's their business.
And like any business, the laws of supply and demand rule supreme.
Heroin is cheap to get and easy to get, and it's in good supply from all over the world. So when you have a high supply and a high demand, that can cause you many problems.
The 95 is the drug highway. Right.
So it only makes sense that it goes up and down. And we do have gang members coming from New York and coming down here.
These problems center on addiction and money. The sale of heroin is not mutually exclusive to criminal prominence. For infamous street gangs like the Bloods and international narco-traffickers and low-level offenders, the risk of prosecution is justifiable by the seller and the individual looking for a fix.
Breaking and entering homes, vehicles, businesses, stealing industrial equipment. So all that stems from drugs.
Timothy McMahon is a special agent with the DEA working out of the New Jersey field office. Wingspan producer James LaPorta spoke to him via phone about how heroin and opiate shipments enter the country.
Primarily what we're seeing as far as where it's coming in, there's several different routes that are being used. Obviously, some of it's coming over the southwest border, and then from there, either via tractor-trailer or broken into smaller packages and hidden in cars and driven to different locations throughout the country.
Yes, sir.
What we're seeing up here in New Jersey, obviously because we are located, we have Newark Liberty International Airport, where we have stuff coming in. We have the Port of Newark, Port of Elizabeth, right out here, right outside of Newark, New Jersey, where we have the large container ships coming in.
Yes, sir.
So some of it's coming in that way. Smaller amounts are coming in via body carriers. People trying to secrete it in their baggage or actually swallowing it. So a couple different methods for the way that it's getting in here.
Okay, so Lieutenant Lanier told us that you can basically go to any parking lot around the county and you could be finding little bags, syringes out on the edges. So we're just gonna take a look, see what we see. There's obviously a lot of trash, but we'll see. And there's one right here. Yeah. Right in the back parking lot. And that wasn't the only rig we found. While we can't confirm the purposes of the syringes we found, officers say that shooting up in parking lots is happening all the time. In fact, the number of needles led to a law passed in 2013 aimed at protecting officers during search and seizures.
Hey, look, if you tell us where it's at, then we can't charge you. We're not going to charge you with it.
According to the North Carolina Harm Reduction Coalition, 1 out of 3 officers will be accidentally stuck during their careers, with 28% getting stuck multiple times. Lieutenant Brewer also discussed naloxone, or what is commonly referred to as the overdose drug.
Naloxone, which is a reversing agent. We've already had one situation where we were able to reverse the overdose of heroin. So that one time was enough for us to carry it. Now,
passed in 2013, the 911 Good Samaritan and Naloxone Access Law seeks to reduce death from overdose. According to the North Carolina Harm Reduction Coalition, the law states that a person seeking medical assistance for someone experiencing a drug overdose cannot be prosecuted for possession of small amounts of drugs or for possession of drug paraphernalia if the evidence for a charge is obtained as a result of someone seeking help.
They're already overdosed, so this is going to bring them back and it doesn't hurt them.
This overdose footage shows administration of naloxone, also known as Narcan. The drug acts in 2 to 5 minutes and helps restore breathing after an overdose has occurred. According to the NC Harm Reduction Coalition, there have been 267 OD reversals in Wilmington using naloxone since 2013. That same year, the drug was used on Ben Simmons.
I remember shooting up my arm, and right before I did it, my best friend sitting there, and he's like, "Dude, that's way too much." And I just kind of passed him off. I was like, "No, I'm good." They'd found me on the ground, and I was laying down, and they checked my pulse, couldn't feel it, and they started to carry me to the car, and I guess I had woken up. That was the first time, and the second time was a lot worse. I start driving, I pull out, I make a right turn, and it was about 30 seconds, since getting out of the parking lot, and I go up the street, and then everything goes black. I wake up, and my shirt's ripped open. I've got like EKGs or whatever. I mean, there's like stuff all over my chest. And I look out and like there's just traffic like stopped for miles behind me. He said, you turned purple. You know, you turned purple, your lips turned purple, your fingertips turned purple. And he's like, I freaked out. And he's like, I left. You know, and I looked and I was like, why would you leave, dude? I mean, I'm just like sitting there and I'm bawling my eyes out because my life had completely become a mess. You know, the doctor comes in and he's like, you know, you're lucky to be alive. And, you know, he said that, you know, if they hadn't gotten to me in about the next 5 minutes, I'd either be dead or brain dead. And I didn't stop using after that. I didn't want to die, you know, but it was like, I'm just like caught up in the grips of like using heroin because I've never felt anything like, you know, as good as this. You know, every drug that I've ever done, like it doesn't compare whatsoever to heroin.
In 2014, Ben wrote an article for the Washington Post while living in a recovery house here in Wilmington. Ben has since left rehabilitation and has remained sober from his past heroin addiction.